We are Mastering Motherhood.
Okay, mamas. There is a line out there, so I don't know if I should start. I'm going to give him another few minutes. Yeah. I know. Where's my herders? Let's have herders out there herding the mamas. Jennifer, would you go around and collect the tickets for me? Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Happy Mastering Motherhood Day, everyone. We're glad we're all back together again. Feels like forever that we've been here. Okay, so I found some funny mom quotes that I wanted to just start our little day with. So the first one is, if your kids are giving you a headache, follow directions on the aspirin bottle, especially the part that says, keep away from children. Okay, the quickest way for a mom to get a child's attention is to sit down and look comfortable. Is that true? Or get on your phone. And for us older moms, my mom used to say, the older you get, the better you get, unless you're a banana. Okay, so we're glad you're all here today, and hopefully the sun is supposed to come out. I'm getting tired of the winter. Okay, so don't forget to make out your blue tickets, and Jennifer is going to come around and collect them. I might give them a minute, Jennifer. Give them a minute. Okay. And also, don't forget to take some of the cards to hand out to mamas that you see in the grocery store pulling their hair out, especially in the checkout line. They moved all the candy, and what happened? All the candy's back. You notice that? I remember that big thing. We're going to move all the candy because the moms are like pulling their hair out at the checkout. And now they're back. Huh? Bigger bags. Oh, good. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, okay. I just wanted to go over, our events that we're having. Today is the cookies and Valentine's. Thank you for all the cookies you brought in. We're going to be going, how many moms are going to be going with their kids? Is there anybody? Oh, one? One? That's it? Just one? Okay, well, that's one is better than none. So we have plenty of cookies to go over there, but so I'll talk to Carly later about it. So thank you for baking. And then we have, on the 24th of March, we have our family book craft. You can see it up there. So please sign up for that so we know how many books we need and who's going to be coming. We'll have some snacks. And is there anybody here who's doing the Hallmark? The Hallmark thing? You haven't what? You haven't started yet? Okay. No, you don't have to sign up for that, but I made more copies, so if anybody didn't get one, they're out on the table. Yes. I couldn't find that one, so I'm glad. So if you find other ones, you can put them on the list and take pictures and, yeah. So don't forget, the person, the couples, or whoever gets the most selfies at these movie places, Hallmark movie scenes, we're going to give out a gift card. So it'll be fun. And the stroller-friendly walks are not until April, so we have them up there. And that's always fun time. Hopefully it won't be too muddy. We'll get better. And the carnival is April 20th on a Saturday. So we're working on that. If anybody wants to volunteer and help me with that project, just come and see me. I would love to have some help. Okay. So today, is there anything else I have to do? Okay, Jennifer, did you go around and get the tickets? Okay. And the gift giveaway today is Tina. She's going to come up and do her gift giveaway.
Good morning.
feel like it's been 100 years since we've seen each other, so I'm glad to be back. All right, so we're supposed to do a little something about ourselves when we do these. I love making lists because then I can scratch it off and feel like I'm so productive. Sometimes I'll even add a few extra lines and then scratch it right off because, yay, I did something today. Today was a little extra busy with all the things that I had to bring today, you know, the gift and the cookies, and we brought breakfast and all this stuff. So I made like this big long list, and I'm like, wow, look how productive I was. And it's only 8:30 a.m. So today for you guys, I have, of course, some lovely chocolate. So Reese's peanut butter cups. And then it's almost spring. So we all need to get our feet ready for spring, right? So this is a pedicure kit. It has some foot fizzies that you put in the water, and they help your feet get all tingly and soft. And then some other lovely lotions and stuff for you. And it smells really nice. So there you go. That's our lovely gift. So if you guys all want to stand up, please. Okay. If you already received a gift so far this semester, please sit down. Okay, next on the list is, all right, if you love making lists like I do, please stay up. Mary Beth, you don't like making lists? Oh, okay. Okay, all right, so you just don't do that. I got you. Okay, and if you have been coming to Mastering Motherhood for at least 2 seasons, so like a fall and a spring, or like 2 years. Let's say 2 years. So that would be 1, 2, 3. So if this is your 4th time coming to Mastering Motherhood, then stay standing. Oh yeah, everybody else sit down. Yep. Okay, so my last thing is if you are an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur at heart, stay standing. Oh, maybe. You haven't found your thing yet. All right. Well, Alyssa, here's my fellow entrepreneur.
My feet, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so we have one of our favorite speakers here today, Marla Darius. And Marla is a wife, mom of 5, portrait family photographer who had she had her pictures taken with Marla. Over the years, she has been a speaker, encourager to moms, community Bible study, children's director, nurse, client advocate at a local pregnancy resource center, and facilitated Bible studies, parenting, and marriage ministries. Whew. I'm exhausted. So in her free time, she enjoys being outside with her camera, creating DIY wood home projects, zooming in her red Beetle, which I saw out there, or working on her first book, which comes out soon. So let's welcome Marla Darius.
Thanks, Carol. It's always so good to be here. I love seeing all the mamas. Thanks for coming out on a cold February day. So I'm talking about parenting and problem solving this morning. And it makes me think of when our 5 kids were growing up and we had the impending 16th birthday. We had a gamut of reactions to the potential of driving. We had the early riser and I can't wait to go driving and then take the test kid. We had, I'll get to it when I get to it kid. We had the I'm going to stretch this out as long as possible kid. We had the I want to drive every day for any reason to go anywhere kid. And we had, what's the rush? Time means nothing to me. What is a clock kid? Anybody relate to that? You have all these kids, maybe from the same family, and yet all these personalities. So we chose to do the parent route and have our kids do driver's ed at home. So that means you're taking them out for 40 hours. We had the log book, we had to jot down when we went out, how long we were out, and keep that there. And then they brought their little logbook to their driving test to prove it to the instructor the day they took their test. So we had the 4 boys, and they did their permit and then their driving in about 1 to 1.5 years. They drove in all 4 seasons. They backed up, they parallel parked, they went up hills, they used the e-brake, they did everything. You know, they got to experience it all. We had a big Suburban, we had a tiny little car that was a stick shift, and we had a mid-size SUV. They drove all of them. They drove in the snow and the ice and the rain and the leaves and the fog, and it was like, okay, these guys are prepared, they're ready. I even took them out in the snow and had them hit the brakes really hard to see if they could handle a spin out. I don't know why I did that. I think I wanted more gray hair, which I'm now coloring. So it's just one of those things. You're like, I'm going to prepare my kids well. So then we get to my daughter. She's the youngest of our 5. She just wasn't into driving. She did that test. She passed now you have to do like the written before you can, and you get your permit and then you're out. She just didn't care. She didn't want to get out, didn't want to drive, didn't want to park, didn't want to get out of the house. She's a homebody, an introvert. And it was like, what are we going to do to get this girl out of the house and behind the wheel and start driving? We waited. We were like, hey, you want to go out on errands? Hey, I need to go to the grocery store. Want to come with me? We're going to pump gas. Nothing. You know, it was like 1.5 years, and her permit was going to expire. And she only had 24 hours of driving time. And I was like, what can I do? I need a good idea. Here's the problem. I need a solution. So I had an amazing idea to plan a New England road trip. She had a February vacation coming up, and at that point, our school system gave 5 days off. So I said, I have this cool idea. Talked to my husband and said, what if we plan a New England road trip and go up through all the states in New England, get lots of driving time? And he says, make sure you have a good spin on the idea to present it to the teenager or it's not going to fly. Okay. And then I went and I pitched it to the girl. Hey, sweetie, how about we do something really fun for your 5-day February break? And we are going to go on a New England road trip. Her interest is kind of piqued, and she's listening. I said, yeah, we'll go through Connecticut, Mass, Vermont, New Hampshire, maybe into Canada, and then back through Maine and maybe hit Cape Cod and come back home. She's like, And I said, your brothers never did anything like this. She's like, ooh. And then it was, did I mention Canada? Nobody's been to Canada. Okay, I'm sold. I want to do it. So then we sat down and we did all the planning. We got out the maps, you know, the old school paper ones from AAA, and you could do a triptych and all that. We got the real maps. Got out the Sharpie and the markers and the highlighters and planned our route. And we talked about all the things that were interesting along the route. Where do you want to stop? What do you want to see? How many days do we have? How are we going to do this? And we booked inexpensive hotels. We had coupons and rebates and what could I get off Airbnb and Rakuten and, you know, all the things that you do as moms today to save money, right? And then we planned the trip and we were off. Is there anything you can think of in your life that is a problem, you need a creative solution, and you can get the wheels turning for something like this? What is your sticky point? What is your thing that you want to solve in a creative way? So I'll just put that there. You think about that. So we embarked on this road trip. We had a great time. We made some fabulous memories. We were out and about, and we learned how to problem solve on more than one occasion, because every road trip has to have its glitches. Before we even got out of Cromwell, we were like, okay, we only have half a tank of gas or less. Let's go fill up. The gas tank wouldn't open. I'm like, you're kidding. What's going on? Is it frozen? It's February. Are you serious? And it would not open. Car on, car off. You know, what are we going to do? Brought it to the dealer. The actuator is broken. What is that anyway? 2 hours at the dealer trying to get that fixed, getting the parts, getting it together. Okay, now we're off. Way later than we thought. Revise the road trip, revise the route. We're going into the hotel a lot later. We're skipping some of the fun. We're not doing the scenic route. We're doing the straight up route. We made it there. But you get it, there's glitches. You make a plan, you have a problem, and you create a solution, and then, stuff happens. So we got there, and we got it going. I learned through the road trip and the driving when to push and when to lay off. My daughter's definitely more of an introvert. She has a strong personality, and she likes to really sleep in. So in the morning, she goes, Mom, I don't want to drive in the morning. I don't feel alert. I don't feel like I'm going to be able to pay attention well, but I'll drive late at night. Okay. So I drove in the morning till we got to the first 10 a.m. Here's your coffee, here's your donut, whatever we're doing. And then now it's your turn because it's no longer 7 or 8 in the morning. All right. So we learned how to compromise and communicate and coordinate our things. And I learned a lot about her while we were out and about. She learned how to merge onto very busy highways. She learned how to pump gas. She learned how to read maps, how to revise a route, how to plan our day, how to check into a hotel. I let her do it. Now we're at the counter. You go do it. Mom, I don't want to do that. Can you hear it? It's like the teenager thing. Don't make me do that. This is a stranger. She managed our schedule for the day. This was all really good stuff. This is part of growing up and adulting. Anybody have teenagers, preteens? So this is something you're looking toward. How do I get my kid to start reaching a little higher and begin adulting in some of these areas? We listened to each other and we compromised on what to do each day and where we'd go. In this picture, we were in Vermont, and we popped into different stores at different times, and this one was like a botanical shop and looked at all the things, and so she bought little trinkets to remember our time, and I think we both got homemade essential oil rubs and lip glosses, and we went to art shows, and we just toured these downtown places. Hey, you want to go in here? Yeah. You want to go in there? Not really. And listen to each other. We decided where we'd eat together, and we went to all kinds of different places, and we went to little diners and full-size restaurants, all different places to go. In fact, it's funny, this picture of Abby in the rocking chair is a little shop in Vermont, and she goes, Mom, that's the same rocking chair Grandma has at her house. And so we explored all through the shop, and again, making those memories, sharing those conversations. I learned that there wasn't a lot of time to chat in the car. She was not one who wanted to talk in the car all the time. She was really concentrating on driving, staying in the lines, looking at everything coming and going. Where am I going to turn? So I learned that we could chat over meals and at night and at our different stops. This particular stop was in Maine, big old barn. And it was like, that looks really interesting. You want to go? Yeah, let's go. We get in. She is an incredible book lover. And I would say 3/4 of this place was packed with books. She did come home with books, and it was like, these are so fun. They're on her shelf today, and I think they're lined up by color and texture, and, she's pretty particular about her books. But again, a memory-making moment, right? And just don't forget to pause as you're doing your parenting and you're solving things every day to make those memories and to just store those away, whether it's with a picture or, as I said to my husband once, I forgot my camera. He goes, okay, it's a memory moment, just in your head, right? So we figured out all these things. Over food, we talked about college. We talked about boys. We talked about adulting. We talked about finishing high school. We talked about future plans. It was great to see her heart. This was February 2020. We got back from our trip, and what was it? 10 days later, 12 days later, that we were all locked down for COVID. And I was like, what a unique opportunity we had. Because then the rest of her senior year was indoors, and at home. And they had just completed their senior play the prior weekend. But they missed all their senior trips and final moments and prom and graduation was drive-through. So it was nice that we had this moment. And it just makes me wonder, when is there time for you to carve out and sit and talk with your kids? You know, make that time, make those moments. Who's driving their kids everywhere, right? Sports and music and scouts and clubs and sleepovers. Use that talk time in the car and share your life with the kids. Ask funny questions. I know there's even cards out there that are like conversation starters. Stick them in your car and have a conversation starter if this isn't coming easy to you. Make that time, get to know your kids. While you're making dinner, while you're driving, while you're tucking them into bed at night and having the nightly prayer or devotions, you can do this. This is a great way to make these memories with your kids. We made many memories. We ate in the small diners. We grabbed homemade sandwiches at little country delis. We ate in sit-down restaurants with little cozy fireplaces. And it was neat. You know, it was just something I'd never done with my daughter before, and it was fun. Yeah, one of the places we ate was an outdoor igloo. I think this was in Kennebunk, Maine. You know, and it was like, oh, what a fun idea. And then, of course, COVID, didn't they do a lot of these so that you were isolated? And they even bought like little sheds and made them into tiny homes with fireplaces, and you would have your own meal. So fun stuff. And we just had a good time sharing. We each bought mementos of the trip that we could enjoy. And this is funny because we each were wearing a blue sweater that day. It looks identical. So one of those arms is mine and one is hers. And we got little abominable snowmen, like tattoos that you put on with a wet rag. And we wore that the rest of the time because she had an abominable snowman little stuffed animal. And she was wearing that around because it's February and cold. And it was like, this is our thing. This is our memory of the trip. And we even went down to the beach in the winter, and it was freezing, but got some cool pictures and just looked at all the birds. It was a great trip. It was something that was unexpected as we solved a problem, that we made some incredible memories. We did drive through 5 states. We put 1,000 miles on the car. She drove for 13 hours, and she got most of her driving time in. And you can see on the little thing there, this was in Canada, and we made it there, and it was really cold. I think it was about 10 degrees to 0 degrees up in Canada, and we went to a park, and we walked around a trail. It was just neat experiences. One of the times, too, we were in, you can see some of the pictures there, we made it to New Hampshire, Mount Washington, and went in an interesting vehicle you'll see next all the way to the top and got to experience Mount Washington. Needless to say, parenting doesn't come with a manual. It looks different for every single one of us. And in your parenting journey, you're praying for daily guidance. What is happening today? How do I deal with this kid, this behavior, this issue, this problem, this thing, you know, that's coming up, whether it's I need driving time or what do I do with this boyfriend they're hanging out with? This isn't healthy. This kid is driving them into really negative behavior over here. How do I break them from this peer group? And this is where you sit and you pray about it and you get together with your spouse and you problem solve. What works for one child doesn't necessarily work for all your kids, which I'm sure you know. They're all different. And just as we learn to flex and grow as parents, all the unique situations that occur every day, our kids learn and grow right alongside of us if we're sharing our heart. I can't tell you how many times I've shared my failures and my successes, my struggles and my wins when I have fallen apart in front of my kids and cried. And then they're like, what's the matter? And then I tell them and they're like, I'm so sorry. You know, and being honest created a bond. I'm not better than you. I'm older than you. I'm trying to guide you in your journey. I am your parent. I'm not your best friend, but I'd like us to be friends. You know, and there's that balance, right? And I encourage you to continue to do those same things with your kids. Share your heart. Share your struggles, highs, lows, successes. The scriptures tell us, don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. That's from Philippians 4, verse 6. And it's true. You know, it's hard today. I think we have a whole anxious society. A lot more kids are struggling with anxiety. We are too. And these are the things we need to just lay down. This road trip was really cool. I didn't expect it to be kind of so awesome. It was February. It was definitely an amazing trip. It was -7 at different parts of our trip. And at one point, because I had a hot flash, I said, let's open the sunroof. And that wasn't the brightest idea because it froze open for about the next day in -7. And my daughter's like, see, Mom, why didn't you just open the window? I didn't realize when I took it for that actuator repair, they did a great thing for me and put it through the car wash, and then the water froze in all the gears. Yeah. Another one of those glitches, right? And you just kind of laugh about it. We blasted the heat, and thankfully the car had those seat warmer thingies. So we were just blasting the heat and putting our hats on in the car, looking stupid, but it was fun. So these getaways are the things that make memories. And you talk, you listen, you share, you laugh. You have new private jokes. She still laughs at me. Don't open the sunroof. It's wintertime. We held hands and we prayed publicly for our food. And we prayed for the servers that were helping us. We also blessed other people around us. If you've ever done that, like somebody in the drive-thru behind you and you pay for their meal, we occasionally paid for somebody somewhere else in the restaurant and just made that a thing. It made really cool memories together and time for us to remember and bond. And that's what the trip ended up being about. So we got our driving hours, but we got so much more. And is there something in your life that needs a solution, and you're going to have that solution, and in the end you're going to look back and go, you know, I figured that out, but it meant so much more in the end, and I didn't expect that. Thank you, God. You know, that was that unseen thing. So think outside the box. I gave you guys little outlines on your table, and so you have these and you can keep them, and the questions are there. But there's a problem. And then there are ideas, right? And as you saw, we kind of talked through this today. There's a problem. You come up with ideas and you talk about what might work, and then you plan. Yourself, your child, your spouse. Expect the glitches. Nothing goes perfect and as planned. You compromise. You talk, you share, you make memories, and in the end, you reflect on all of this, and you make it work. Enjoy what God shows you along the way in your journey, as you're a mom, as you're a wife, as you're working, as you're home, and see what you learn about yourself, your kids, your priorities, and in the end, enjoy the journey. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. She knew it was to get her to drive, and so proposing it as a road trip and a cool thing and different from her brothers, to this day, she still emphasizes. She mentioned last night at dinner, you know, I am different from my brothers because they all went to school for 4 years, but I only did 2 years, and I'm working sooner than they did. So you may find that with your kids. They just want that unique independence. And yes, she was part of the planning and knew this was it was all about. Anybody else have a question? When we were planning it, because she knew this was to get her to get the driving time. And she was afraid of the highways and of merging. And so that's why we particularly chose routes like historic 7A up through Vermont, so that you get a highway, but it's not I-91 at rush hour. And now she's driving as a para to Bristol from Cromwell, and she goes on the highways, and it's super busy, and she's merging, and she's doing great. And she has also driven by herself down to southern Connecticut, and she wants to maybe drive to DC to see her brother. She's got brothers in 3 states, so she's like, I want to maybe drive and see my brothers. So it was a cool thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Marla. That was awesome. Yeah, it's always trying to find things, even in your marriage, that you can do together and just make a deeper connection. So, all right, you've got about almost 10 minutes for your table talk. Hey, moms, it's time to go to your book groups. Hello. You must be having some good conversation here. I wish I could sit at all tables. Okay, enjoy your book groups today, and we'll see you next week.